We've known about it for a while now, have talked about it some here, but not specifically from this angle. The ACC is doing it. Josh Pate, one of the most connected folks in college football these days, says the Big Ten and the SEC are talking about doing it. Will this get to the Big 12? Of course, I'm talking about unequal revenue sharing, not splitting all your TV revenue equally among all the members of your conference, something that is, controversial in the sense that, basically whenever it happens, that's a recipe for long-term disaster for your conference, even if it's not going to spell disaster in the short term. Well, we've now got a Big 12 athletic director on record talking about this, for one, and I'm going to play you that audio so that you can hear that when asked a question like, is the Big 12 going to explore going down the road of unequal revenue sharing? Plus, which schools could potentially upset the entire conference by pushing for this? Who are the candidates there? And is that a realistic thing that could happen? Is that a realistic thing that could happen? So the ACC, to recap here, is going to have success and brand initiatives, which is how their unequal revenue sharing will come about. If you have a successful season, you're going to make more money. If you have a successful season in terms of TV viewership, the one that will, drive more people crazy. But if you just have good TV numbers, you're going to make more money that way too. And sounds like could be upwards of 15 to 20 million extra dollars per year if you're hitting all those benchmarks, having a really good year, and people are watching you. AKA, you're Clemson, you're Florida State, you're maybe even like Miami. Well, North Carolina, certainly this year with Bill Belichick, they're going to get the TV numbers. I mean, that's going to help. So North Carolina is making some of whatever they're paying Bill Belichick, they're going to make some of that money back from the brand initiative there that's going to kick in with how many TV viewers they will have. But even if you're like a Miami or a Georgia Tech, somebody too, you might be able to pull in some extra TV viewership there if you're having a successful season. That carrot is on the table, but it's also something that can breed a lot of contempt, right? Schools that are down toward the bottom, they're going to be losing money because of this. I hate to single out like Boston College, Wake Forest, but places like that may struggle, not have as many people watching them, smaller schools, life's not going to be as good. You're naturally going to get frustrated. Yes, it's better to be there than it is to be the Pac-12, aka be Oregon State and Washington State, but it's still not going to make a lot of people happy. And the Big 12 knows all about that. I mean, Texas demanded, in essence, unequal revenue sharing from the moment they stepped into the Big 12. That caused tons of problems with everybody. So, will it come to the Big 12? SEC and Big Ten have to be looking around and saying this is a great way to not have to kick out Northwestern or Vandy or whoever, but we can still take some of their money, pay our big brands. That seems like it makes a lot of sense. But if you look at the Big 12 on paper, it doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense, right? There are a lot of teams that are very evenly matched from a brand standpoint and very evenly matched from a resource standpoint and very evenly matched from a success on the field standpoint. And like I was asked, for instance, this week by somebody during a radio hit, the question was in regard to BYU specifically, but like, hey, do I think that they can live up to this 10 plus win ceiling again this year? And I said, well, I think they will win 8+ games beyond that. It feels kind of foolish to say for anybody that you feel really great about that happening, especially anybody that's picked up toward the top of the league, because you could pretty much just flip and do the inverse of the league standings from the projection in the preseason poll to what actually played out on the field last year. Like, that should teach us a lesson about that. Like, this league is just going to be wild every single year, because when you have teams that are just that close, think about all the little tiny margins that can make the difference, man. I mean, an injury here or there, a team with more transfers just not clicking until halfway through the season, a coordinator change, trying to find your footing with that early in the year. All that can be what truly makes the difference when this many teams are this evenly matched. So it doesn't seem like it'd be the greatest environment to say, yeah, we'll do unequal revenue sharing, because everyone would be like, well, I mean, what's the point of that? Nobody's going to really latch onto that. The only dominant brand that you have, if you're going based on TV numbers so far, is Colorado definitely crushed everybody in the TV numbers last year. But I mean, that's tied to one coach. Nothing against Colorado. And I'm very glad, by the way, that Coach Prime sign the contract extension that he did, and Colorado's doing whatever they can to keep him around because it's objectively good for the league. You don't have to like it, but it's objectively good for the league to have those extra eyeballs on the league. That'd be the one team that probably could claim like some brand superiority right now, but they don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know how you could feel like that's totally permanent. I mean, Deion was already like publicly flirting with the Cowboys this offseason. So it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for the Big 12, but I had a chance to interview Gene Taylor, K-State's athletic director, recently. And sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit there. Let me share my screen for you. My apologies here. So here's what Gene Taylor had to say when I asked him, do you think this unequal revenue sharing can come to the Big 12?
We haven't talked about it. I mean, obviously, I shouldn't say we haven't. I mean, we talk about what the ACC is doing. And they're, way back in the day, that's what Texas and Oklahoma wanted, long before I got in the conference. Or, so that's always kind of I guess, a potential, but we'll see. I mean, now that you're going to get more teams in the playoff, and if I think the Arizona State coach threw something out there. Well, if I'm always the team in the playoff, shouldn't we get more money? All of a sudden, if you get some consistent teams that are always in the playoff and the others aren't, eventually I think that's probably going to come up. But as a conference right now, we've been pretty set on we're all kind of in this together, and we're really much of the same right now. The programs are all this in terms of success, across the board. You typically had the Oklahoma in football win it every year, and Texas and occasionally. But right now, that's not been on a radar screen. But who knows what's going to happen as we get more and more teams in these playoff.
Okay, so there's Gene Taylor, K-State athletic director. Basically saying like, hey, we have talked about what the ACC has done, but we have not specifically discussed doing any of that in the Big 12. I don't think that should be a real surprise. I would also say, I mean, that is what he's saying publicly. If they have talked about what the ACC has done, I don't know, surely that's come up, in at least some form or fashion, a little bit. But the Texas and Oklahoma point that he's making is a big one. I mean, that was such a sore issue in the Big 12 that Texas could just bully its way to the unequal revenue sharing, and people hated that. And you don't want to have to deal with that anymore. I mean, the good news is there's not like a Texas in the conference, somebody that can really command that at the moment. There's not an Oklahoma that's going to win the league over and over again, at least as of right now, which leads me to the other point there about what Gene Taylor did say. And that is, he's saying, hey, like Kenny Dillingham's kind of made mention, like, hey, if I or whoever am just going to the playoff every year, winning the league every year, being the one that's carrying things from a viewership and attention standpoint, shouldn't I get more of the money? I mean, that's what it will take. Like the second that you have somebody make the playoff 3 years in a row, like for instance, let Utah make the playoff 3 years in a row, win the league twice, win a couple of playoff games, and then see what happens there. Because a school like that, you've already seen Mark Harlan, the athletic director, pop off publicly against the Big 12 after the BYU game. A school like that, I'm sure, would be very quick to be like, we deserve more, start pounding the table, see what happens. Especially if between now and then, the SEC and Big Ten do fall in line. And then you'd be the only conference that's not doing the success and brand initiative type of thing to skew the revenue out. If you're the only one left standing, that would create even more pressure if then you have somebody start to do that. So it's like there's some good and bad with that. I mean, I think it could be good for the league to have somebody really start to do that. Somebody really take command and develop more of a national brand, especially as we move into an era where you're going to have 2 playoff spots open every year. I think that can definitely be a good thing for the league, but then you'll probably have that team immediately trying to request more money because of it, and the unequal revenue sharing because of it. And that can definitely cause some problems. I shouldn't just single out Utah. I mean, what if it's Colorado? Colorado's already got this huge advantage with TV sets. They had more than double the average TV viewership for a game last year than anybody else in the Big 12. So they're going to be very inclined to be like, hey, man, we just made 3 playoffs in a row. We won the league twice. We're getting twice the TV viewership. Of course, we should be getting more money. I mean, that's another scenario that you could see play out very fast, very quickly, if that's how things go over the next 5 or so years. So this seems like something that will probably be very fluid. And I see your guys' comments it's not a very popular thing, this idea of unequal revenue sharing. I'm not saying I like it, but I am saying it's something that you should probably be prepared for if there's going to be somebody that starts taking over and going to the playoff year in and year out. And that's the age that we're in college athletics. There's not much of a, hey, I'm here for the greater good of the sport and what's the greater good of the conference. And no, people want their money. People want whatever power they can get. It's a consolidation of all those things. It's a greed-fueled chase for that. Much as we would love for the Big 12 to be above that, I highly doubt that it would be if you have somebody that gets put in that position. So I thought that was salient point there from Gene Taylor that, like, hey, that very well could still be coming.